Call this Topsham Select Board meeting to order January 19, 2023 from the Donald A. Russell Meeting Room. Would you all please rise for the pledge of allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Patty, would you call the roll?
Really? David Douglas.
Yeah.
Marie Brilliant.
Yeah.
Ruth Lyons.
Excused.
Moses excused. Matt Nixon.
Present.
Roland Tufts.
Here.
And our town manager, Derek Skrzyjewski, is also at the table.
Thank you, Patty. Town manager report.
Good evening, everyone. The fiscal year 2024 budget proposal will be ready on February 2nd in preparation for the department presentations on February 8th. The only other item I have is we received 2 RFP submissions for the community center needs assessment. And the community center will meet on January 23rd and provide a recommendation to the board of selectmen following that meeting. That's all I have.
I'm going to add to your report tonight's parking meeting.
Thank
That'd
you.
be a good thing.
Great.
Starting at 6, get off the streets.
The parking ban does start at 6. It's on the website and will end tomorrow. It's also on a WCME website as well. And we'll get it on other social media platforms. Perfect.
Any questions of the manager? That was a hard hitting one.
Thank you.
You are.
6 p.m. tonight.
Yes.
Thank you.
I hope you're not on the street now.
Fly under the streets.
Board committee reports and updates. Update from the Energy Committee and Topsham Library on the request of an EV charging station at the library. Yvette Meunier, Energy Committee, and Susan Priest, Director of Topsham Public Library.
Hi there.
Hello.
So I wanted to just let you know that I've been working with the Topsham Energy Committee for a couple of months now. Our facilities committee has been working specifically with Yvette, and it's been a pleasure to work on things that are going to be hopefully good for the environment and good for Topsham. The board of we were applying for an efficiency Maine grant, a rural level 2 EV electric vehicle charger. There's an opportunity, particularly for public libraries, along with other community, town governments and such. So the Board of Trustees authorized us to apply for this grant. I talked to Derek, and he met with us, and the proviso the Board of Trustees has given is that that there be no other additional monies coming from either the town or for us. So we have applied for the grant. It's hopefully $18,000 ish, and we hope that we get it. And then we'll need to go for an additional GoPIF grant or find other grant funding for the rest of the project. It's about a $20,000 project. So 2 EV chargers near the handicap parking. They're level 2 chargers, which I understand are sort of not the fastest, but certainly somebody who was coming in to drop off books or sit with story time could get a charging done.
Any questions? The only thing I would say is it did say the board was trying to still make a decision on which company. It's pretty clear to me
Yeah.
which one it is.
Guess what? We did.
Okay.
We did
So-
actually at that point. We
Yeah.
did.
That's a
We went.
no-brainer.
Yes. Smart man.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any public comment? Anyone got correspondence? No adjustments. Approval of the minutes regular select board meeting January 5, 2023. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I'll second. People missing, I don't know. All those in favor? Unanimous. Hey, look at us. New business already. 2307. Consideration any appropriate action to allow the town manager to execute a letter of intent. The Topsham Housing Authority to apply for a 2023 Public Service Special Projects Grant for the proposed Fairview Commons housing project at 25 Hackensack Road. Should there ever be one, right? John?
Good evening, my name is John Hodge, I'm the Executive Director of the Topsham in Brunswick Housing Authorities. Nice to see you all this evening, thank you for having me come before you and share some exciting news finally. I was looking back at the first time I had a meeting with staff here in Topsham was in March of 2018. We were able to get planning board approval for the project in February of 21. And now I'm here finally, finalizing the financing package to actually start building this housing. I'm beginning to feel like gum on the bottom of the shoes. It doesn't seem to go away, which is a good thing because we really need this housing. So we were finally successful in working with Maine Housing to get the approval for some low-income housing finance tax credit and subsidy that would come along with that, in addition to some loans that they would provide for the project. But we still come up about $727,000 short. So this community development block grant is really what we're going to use to gap finance this project. We've been told by the director of the Department of Community and Economic Development that there are some funds that were unobligated from previous years that she needs to obligate, so she encouraged us to apply, which is outside of the normal process, which is a good thing, but we still have to go through this formal process. The first step is to submit a letter of intent, and that's what you have before you this evening. This does not obligate the town to anything. Doesn't, you're not obligating to receiving funds, accepting funds. You're just expressing an interest in applying for funds. Once we submit that letter, they will review it and determine if there's some feasibility and ask us to apply for funds. So that's a more of a full-blown application with more details. And then again, if we're successful, some award will be made. We are hoping to get up to $500,000. We hope that might even be actually more funds are available. But if there is about a $250,000 gap, we are still very hopeful that with some value engineering and some other things that we might be able to do to reduce the cost of that project, that we can pretty much get that in hand. $250,000 plus is a lot of money, but right now this is looking at a $16.8 million project to build 38 units. One of the reasons it is costly, and thank you to the town for providing the TIF, because that revenue allows us to borrow money to help pay for costs. One of those biggest costs in the project is that road, Hackensack Road, which will be a good thing. It'll end up finishing that neighborhood that was done by Rich Bromwell so many years ago. This is the last parcel of that project, the Topsham Crossing neighborhood. And the road would eventually connect to Shady Lane. I think it is a Shady Road, which is at the end of really what is called Kings Road right now. It's a dirt gravel road. So it's stubbed there, and we would bring that road right up to there. We're only planning to develop 6 acres of this site, which leaves 6 acres as open space. That's what the zoning will allow, the 38 units. In the future, if the town looks at changing its zoning, we'd be happy to discuss how we might be able to use the rest of that site. For now, we have no plans. We want to go forward with the 38 units as designed. We'll be going back before the planning board because that permit didn't expire. So again, this evening, we're asking you to authorize the town manager to submit this letter on our behalf. All these funds, the community development block grants, go to the town. The Topsham Housing Authority would be a sub-recipient. We would take care of all the reporting that is necessary, so it's not a burden to the Topsham staff. And obviously, we would be in close contact with your staff. As we get the money, you would have to provide invoices and show that the money is needed and what it's being spent on. So we certainly appreciate that. I hope that you will authorize us to go forward with these things. And I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
John, did you throw out a $200,000 number, what you were looking at for units for cost? Because it was, because
It's about $440,000
Right.
per unit. Yeah,
but yeah,
it's crazy.
so it's not really affordable housing.
Well, it's not affordable bill,
Right.
no.
So, okay,
Yeah, but through the combination of the tax credits and the subsidies, that allows us to set rents at people earning up to 60% of median income.
right, so it'd all be rented, okay,
Yeah.
maybe in my head, I had these being sold off.
Oh, no, these will be
Okay.
rental units, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. And the housing authority will also put some vouchers in there, which actually generates more revenue, which is needed, just because even with all those grants and tax credit subsidies, it's still a tight budget.
okay. I don't know what I was thinking, because I knew it was 442 was the number.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And we're hoping to get that a little lower. But
Yeah.
because we haven't priced this since last August, so we're hoping
okay,
lumber.
because it does make me, I mean, are there better, is there some way to make it better, and I'm thinking of that, all that housing at the entrance to the base, something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's
We
just,
would love to look at.
it's just scary, and I don't know if it's allowed, I don't,
Yeah.
planning board, nothing.
Yeah,
I believe you mean Brunswick Landing.
No, I mean the base.
Yeah.
And it's the dump.
Yeah. Yeah, all that housing was supposed to be torn down when they did the privatization back in
Right.
2006 or 7. Where it was, yeah.
I saw pictures on my phone, Matt, which Class P, since the weeks. Yeah.
Well, I tried looking up on Google Maps, where is?
If you Google King Road, it might come up, but if you look at Tedford, and then when you turn into Topsham Crossing, there's a dirt road and the parcel is north of that dirt road. If you see a big wooded lot, that's the one. There's a drainage pond in the middle of that lot too.
So does that mean that trail will be gone?
We're happy to work with the town to create, well, there's gonna be a sidewalk on the road, so,
I mean, yeah, the horses.
yeah, that dirt road will be a paved road, but we have land that abuts it towards the power lines. We have no plans to develop that, so we certainly can work with the town to make that. And one of the things, it did help us when we applied for the tax credit, we had to be near open public recreation within a half a mile. So you have a trail system, it's the Mount Ararat Trail that you can access through those power lines. Unfortunately, we're only like 400 or 500 feet from the beginning of that trail, so that allowed us to get the points to be successful in this command. Crazy, but that's the thing you have to do. You have to,
Any other question? Go ahead.
Just in the budget here, when we're talking about the different sources of funding, what is the deferred fee?
So all these projects are mostly geared for private developers, and they earn a fee. That's their profit, overhead, and margin for developing these properties. So the Maine Housing encourages even us nonprofits to earn a developer's fee, which we've been working for nothing for 5 years. So we'll end up paying ourselves back. Topsham Housing Authority's got over $100,000 invested in this, and so we'll get reimbursed for that. But the fee is to cover that cost. But what you do is you loan the fee back. And the reason you do that is because the way these tax credit projects work, it's not going to be owned by Topsham Housing Authority. It's going to be owned by a limited partnership that is 99.9% owned by the equity investors. These are the people that buy the tax credits. Topsham Housing Authority will be the 0.01% owner, would be the general managing partner, so we will be managing the property. And then every year, it's a surplus cash that the first use of that surplus cash is to pay off that deferred development. And what this does is on the paper, it generates a loss to the investor because they don't want to show profits, which they then have to be taxed on. So don't ask me how all of that works. That is why they set it up that way. So we loan the fee back, surplus cash pays the fee off. On paper, it shows a loss with depreciation included, and that's what the investor is looking for, because that impacts their taxes in a positive way, showing taking those losses. So. And after 15 years, then the tax compliance period is over, and then the property would be transferred to Topsham Housing Authority. And I know this because in Brunswick, yesterday, we transferred our tax credit property from a limited partnership to the Brunswick Housing Authority. Well, that project just finished 15 years, and we were successful, ran everything the way it was supposed to, and we certainly feel we can do that here in Topsham as well.
Was that off our road?
That's off a variable drive.
Oh, yeah. So I don't want to go in the pucker brush here too much, but I have a question now that.
Yeah.
Your exchange with Matt. These investors looking for this loss.
Yeah.
So I think I recently read an article, and maybe it's not this type of group, where the feds are now going to start cracking down on this type of write-off.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because this is an IRS program
Okay.
that they're encouraging investors to develop and put the investment into affordable housing. So
Okay.
I highly.
It could have been
doubt that
different.
because- And there's too many private developers around the country that rely on this program that,
Well, that's what this was too. It
Yeah.
was so many people, and they were
Yeah.
afraid people wouldn't jump. And I couldn't remember what.
Yeah. Yeah, so really, I mean, the biggest benefit is the tax credit. So let's say they buy $1 million worth of credits that they can take out over 10 years, they might pay $920,000 for those $1 million. So that's an 8% return on their investment. That's how it works for them. And then they get the losses, but that's not the primary. The primary reason is those credits. So if they have a tax bill, they can just apply those credits and they don't have to pay on that. But again, that was the government's way of incentivizing private developers to build affordable housing.
Okay, interesting. Any other questions? Sounds good. I'll just read it. Make a motion to authorize the town manager to execute a letter of intent to apply for a 2023 Public Service Special Projects Grant for the proposed Fairview Commons Housing Project at 25 Hackamatack Road. Seconded, and all those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, everyone. 2308, consideration of any appropriate action to set a public hearing on proposed increase in the charges for mixed solid waste. Ed?
Hi, Ed Karen, Solid Waste Director. Reason I'm bringing this before you is because our recent contract, I neglected to address this at that time, so we need to adjust our costs to cover our charges, our fees rather, to adjust to cover our costs. And one of those areas that I was looking at was the compacted trash price. Right now, currently, we don't have anybody dropping off, but our price is lower than what they're generally paying, or about the same amount. And our price is actually $80 a ton, but we're paying contract this year, 92. So we need to adjust those to correct that. And went through the contract for the next 3 years, and you can see in the paperwork, I've got it broke down for the next 3 years, what the prices should be per ton. The trucking costs included in, and also the per ton tipping fees. We have the prices figured out for the first year, $110 a ton, second $115 a ton, and the third year $120 a ton. That covers our dumping fees and the transportation costs of it all. Also, we needed to look at the yard price. We're charged currently $18 a yard. It costs us more like $24 a yard. So we really need to adjust that loose load price to adjust it to cover those costs. We've also have had over the years many people using different bags. Go ahead.
Sorry, just what's non-compacted?
Pickup truck full of trash.
Oh, okay.
You know, you cleaned out the cellar, you
Yeah.
threw it all in, just one,
Gotcha.
threw it all as trash, no one had to bag.
Okay.
We've always had a per yard price, so, we adjusted it a couple years ago, but it really wasn't adjusted high enough. We don't want to raise the prices of bags themselves, our bag price is at enough of a cost, but we do find that people are using different bags, they're using contractor bags. Our bag, for instance, that is a 1.25 mil plastic, and it's meant to hold 30 pounds or 30 gallons. Whereas people are using 45-gallon trash bags that are 1.5 mil up to 60-gallon trash contractor bags that are 5 mil. And you know, the answer is, well, it holds more than this. Well, that's the point. It's not supposed to hold more than ours. So if they're going to use other bags than Topsham bags, we should be charging accordingly. And those prices that I figured for bags were anything more than our bag that's not a regular Topsham bag up to a 45-gallon bag would be a charge of $3, and then up to $6 for the 60-gallon bag. Depending what they are. Our current ordinance says that's supposed to be in Topsham bags, but since we went with the token machine out there, and we're currently going to be soon hopefully instituting the credit card deal, we have to adjust those different things. So we may come back later in the future with a code change for our ordinance level. These are the prices that we are currently paying and going to be paying for the next 3 years, and I think we need to bring those prices up to meet those disposal costs.
So where are we on the credit card thing?
We're almost there, and Mark was actually testing it today, so
Yeah.
Mark, you want to share?
So far, I got a receipt I can show you. I don't even have $1. We got what's something. So it's costing him to try it out. That's where he did come down to the transfer station because we've been trying to iron out the menu on how we would do it.
Yep.
Again, now depending on what happens after all this, we'll have to adjust those before we institute it. So once we get all our prices included, the menu rolled up, we'll try to institute that, plus give you guys training out there for it. That's all.
Good. I was dead in the water.
No, it's just been one of those things that have been kind of tricky, you know. Tomorrow's technology today. It's
Yeah,
a
that's-
wonderful thing, you know.
I have a lot of skills with computer programs, not one. But we've got the store built and it's got prices in now and I know how to adjust the price.
I believe, any other questions? I think I can answer anything else. I think I have in here on that.
So Ed, I'm gonna be a pain in this.
That's okay. I
Couple
would
things.
expect nothing less.
So it's on the non-Thompson trash
Yes.
bags, that's the only thing.
Yeah.
And I'm not a tree hugger or anything, and as I've said, it drives me nuts that people just go up and throw in a plastic bag into the trash to dump their plastic bag. You have double the amount of plastic going in. And our ordinance does say you must use a Thompson bag. I know what my house is, it probably is, like you said, around that 30. But I know if I was to use a contractor's bag, I could have a ton more in that bag. It just feels like these rates are entirely too low. So I'm like a 51% right this moment, so I kind of wanted to talk among the board. 51% of saying either you go with the Thompson bag or nothing. Or we kind of raise these other numbers to like a $7 to $10 range.
Now,
So-
one of the things that I did do, I did kind of look at what those bags, on average, when you look at the stores, how much are they meant to hold and what.
Yep.
And our bags originally were meant on 30 pounds. So I kind of used that 30-pound theory. I can tell you that there's people out there, little women that have a trash bag tied up that I'm sure weighs more than them.
Yeah.
And the bag's hold.
Yeah.
So I mean, so.
Well, that's why I was-
Those other bags are meant to hold more. So yes, we should be charging accordingly. But I think $6 for a big contracted bag, after doing what we tried to do for our calculations to figure it out, it should be good to cover us on that. We can, and if we find that we're not doing it at a later date, we can definitely re-look at it, but I think those prices there are still pretty good, because what we looked at too is like a contracted bags, if we threw that into a non-compacted yard of a truck. So many bags figures out about the same amount, if they're packed full and square, same per cubic yard, so trying to be fair to everyone on that, I think. We've looked at that.
We were
We have
being
looked at
fair when we use a Thompson bag.
true fact. Well, my argument has always been to everybody, that you have to have that bag closed.
Yeah.
If it doesn't fit, then you haven't got enough in it. And if you got a black bag and you don't like what I'm charging for that bag, because we've been charging $3 to $4 for other bags. And they'd say, well, it's either that or put it in my bag. There's no argument. If it's in the Thompson bag, I can't argue.
Right.
My bag holds it. Now duct taping it all up like a circus ball, no. We have seen.
I use packing tape today.
Yeah.
It's 2 inches. I had to get a pillow.
So, yeah, in answer to that, we have looked at that. So, I mean, I think in all fairness, I think 6 for.
I just think you always pay more if you take less, right? It's cheaper if you buy at BJ's than if you go to a convenience store,
This is.
So I don't know. This is where I'm at. So I just wanted some thoughts here, because it does, my number one pet peeve is watching people throw a plastic bag in to dump their bag. And hopefully this swipe will eliminate some of it. But it just feels like those numbers are tiny. So that's my feel. I think I hit them harder, not hard, but harder. I'll tell me I'm wrong, but.
Well, we always come back with, 6 months to say, numbers indicate we charge more, we'll do it.
That means we took a loss. The taxpayer took a loss, right?
Well, we
Personally,
shouldn't be, because it's big contractor bags is twice the amount that the town's bag is, and we're charging twice as much.
Actually, 3 times, because it's a 60-gallon bag, I'm charging $6 for it, we charge 2 for hours at 30-gallon bags. I'm charging 3 times.
Unfortunately, it doesn't make sense.
That's even better.
Yeah.
I'm okay with this. As written, I think it makes sense. I definitely fit more than 60 pounds in my top trash bag. That's for sure.
He makes up for those with 10 pounds.
so let me ask this, if we're gonna go to a public hearing anyway, for us to take the wording out, must be in a Thompson trash bag, because if we're gonna continue down this road of not enforcing something, is that at town meeting, we have to remove that? Or could we remove it at the public hearing? And then
I think
just-
because it's an ordinance, you probably have to go county.
So we probably should, if we're gonna just turn a blind eye to a rule we have. We should at least admit it and say this is our new policy. I mean, do this one now, but come town meeting in May, eliminate that word.
Right, just have a weight-based schedule.
Yeah,
And that was originally was back in the day when,
yeah.
you know, it was when we first got started.
Yeah.
30 years ago, so I mean,
No, it's always one of those things, government forgets they put a rule in there,
oh no, I agree.
you know.
No, it's like I said, we've inadvertently trying to make things easier for the public.
Yeah.
We've circumvented our own.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No other questions of Ed, so we need to set. The memo, did you guys need to throw in a proposed date? Why wouldn't we just do we need a length of time? Can we do the next one? Sure. The first meeting in February? Yeah.
I propose
Oh,
that we set a public hearing for the first meeting in February on a proposed increase in charges for mixed solid waste to the following prices. Compacted mixed solid waste, $110 per ton for FY 2022-23, $115 per ton for FY 2023-24, and $120 per ton for FY 2024-25. Additionally, non-compacted mixed solid waste, $24 per yard. And finally, non-compacted mixed solid waste in non-toxic garbage bags, $3 per bag, up to 40 gallons, and $6 per bag greater than 40 gallons, but less than 60 gallons. You know,
Second.
Patty?
Oh, yeah.
oh, I didn't know if you saw it. It's right there, Patty. Motion seconded, all in favor. Vote Matt, yeah, I'll tell the tree already. That's it, thanks, Ed.
You've got
2309, executive session, enter into executive session pursuant to whatever SA subsection 4056C to discuss acquisition of real property. Well, a second. Or so moved or something. All in favor? Got it.
Aye.